Dear students, welcome to DSEJ's Home Classes, a digital initiative taken by our worthy Director Ma'am Shrimati Anuradha Gupta for taking this initiative to start home classes. Dear students, as you know, my name is Mohinder Goswami, teacher posted at GHS Batote in district Ramban. Today I am going to discuss with you a story. You might have listened many story of sea adventure, but our today's story is little bit different. It is taken from class ninth, chapter 2nd, and we will discuss it in two different parts. In part first we will discuss how Gulliver reached in Lilliput. So let us discuss the story. Dear students, as far as part first is concerned, in this story, in this part, we will learn about Gulliver visit to a strange island, a fictional island which is known as Lilliput. And another thing which we will discuss in this story is about the two parties of Lilliput, in which Lilliput was divided, and the reason behind the fighting between these two parties. This empire has another danger, and we will also discuss it. But let's read the story and find out all these things. Dear students, this is a story which was a creation of a great writer, Jonathan Swift. As you know, this story is about our adventure. The present part of story is about a fictional island, Lilliput, which was inhabited by small-sized people whose height is not more than a few inches. They were living in these isolated islands. So let's find out what they do. Dear students, you might have seen many movies on the story like this. This is a story of adventure in which Gulliver reached a strange and isolated island which was named as a Lilliput and inhabited by the people who were a very small in height. Let's find out what Gulliver did in this island and what the Lilliputians did with the Gulliver. That is very important. But before discussing, you need to know about the writer of this story. This beautiful story was written by a great writer, Jonathan Swift. He was born in 1667 and died 1745. As you know, he was known for his story and especially the story of Gulliver. Gulliver's travels around the world. Dear students, before proceeding toward the story, you need to understand that the present part of story which we are going to discuss is taken from Jonathan Swift's masterpiece Gulliver's Travels, which appeared in 1726. It is divided into four books, but the young people prefer only two of them. Gulliver's Voyages to Lilliput, where the people are 6 inches. Dear students, as the story opened, we found that Gulliver was the captain of an English ship. His ship wrecked during his adventure in sea. He reached on the island of Lilliput, which was inhabited by a little people not more than 6 inches tall. They imprisoned Gulliver while he was asleep. Dear students, look at this picture. You will see that Gulliver was imprisoned by Lilliputians. He caught him, he bound him with the ropes, with the nails, and totally covered him by all means so that he can't escape. He was in the control of Lilliputians. Look at these pictures. Now Gulliver was totally free because the Lilliputians found him very gentle and harmless. After a few days, they decided to free Gulliver. Dear students, now Gulliver got his freedom. He was very happy that he was free. Then what happened? Reldressel, a chief secretary for private affairs of Lilliput, the emperor sent him to Gulliver for the solution of some problems. Some problems of the state. The problem of the state was that Lilliput was divided into two parties, high hills and low hills. They opposed each other bitterly. The people of high hills didn't like the people of low hills, and the same low hills people don't like with high hills people. But the emperor favored low hills people because he himself belonged to this category. So in this way, the government was in the hand of low hills, but young prince was sympathetic to high hills, so he wore shoes bearing low hills and high hills. So he faced problem during his walk. With this, the country has another danger. What the danger? The country was threatened by another empire of this universe named Blefuscu. Dear students, these two superpowers of the world, Lilliput and Blefuscu, were in a bloody wars from last 3 years. You know why they fought? They fought upon a religious question. Religious question, you can say a principle, religious principle, namely whether one should break an egg at the bigger end or the smaller end. You didn't understand this, that this could be a reason, but of course this was a reason. They fought for this reason only to decide whether one should break an egg at the smaller end or at the bigger end. This was the question between these two. Actually, the reason of this was the present emperor's grandfather, when he was a child, happened to cut one of his finger while breaking an egg at the bigger end. So the law was published not to break an egg at the bigger end. Of course, dear students, the ancient practice of breaking the egg was at the bigger end. Because of this, at least 11,000 people suffered death at various times. Many rebels escaped to Blefuscu. It gave the encouragement to rebels. The two engaged over this question. Many books were published on it. Now Blefuscu was ready to attack on Lilliput because he knew that this was the time the country was already fighting between the two parties, high hills and low hills. In this situation, the emperor wanted Gulliver help in defending against invader. He knew that Blefuscu could attack on him. He knew only Gulliver could save him from this disaster. So students, we have completed this story part 1. We will continue this story in a part 2. In part 2, we will see how Gulliver saved Lilliput from this disaster. So now it's time for homework. Students, you are requested to read the story from book. Then learn all the questions from the textbook. Discuss why the story is titled Gulliver in Lilliput is one of the important lesson as far the story is concerned. So with this I would like to thanks to all. Thank you very much.